A negative trend is that they're feeling worse because they're isolated, sedentary, and lonely. AI is the future of mental health, but it's not a replacement to therapists. It's an augmentation and improvement.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Another one here, Heads Up Advisor. Got a good one for you. Mental health. Everybody knows about it. If you're not experiencing it personally in the family, you sure know some of the employers that you are ensuring the employees are experiencing it. And it's having an effect on claims, long-term, work production, many other things. I thought it was a great topic we need to cover. Gentlemen, we have on today Lucas Siegel from Yuna. I'd met some time back, thought it was a great solution, an idea that's out to help with this crisis, being the fact we are in a remote world and the world has changed so much. You know, maybe the old methods don't work as well, aren't going to work with the new population. So, Lucas, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. Really appreciate all the work you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah. So this topic, I mean, it's one we could talk about for days. You know, we enter this new world post-COVID, right? And you have this mental health crisis from everything from different addictions, relationships. I mean, look, they're home more often, right? Were we designed to be home? No, men, hunter and gatherers, going to be out and about all day, going to work all day. What are you seeing that has this major shift now from the post-COVID world and the mental health side?
You know, I'm not a chiropractor, but chiropractors are blowing up because we're now in a sedentary environment. We're literally bred to be hunting, walking. The amount of steps per day that humans have had has been plummeting. So that doesn't help with mental health. You know, everyone knows how you feel after you exercise. And you've got the endorphins
need to move a certain amount of time in day to cure problems, right?
Exactly. And you can only like sauna and ice baths so much to avoid, feeling terrible. So that's one issue that we're facing is just being sedentary, slouched over a computer. Another huge one is isolation. Before COVID, at least many of us could go to an office and we could talk to people and we could have relationships. And what did they call it? Like water cooler conversations. You know, maybe there was too many of those, but at least people were communicating with other people outside of a keyboard. Now we've got people slumped over a computer, hiding all day. The most communication they get is a Slack channel or phone calls. And they're sedentary and they're lonely. And, you know, it's the same thing like if you're raising a child. You don't raise a child in an environment where they don't move all day and they don't talk to others. That's called a developmental disorder. And as adults, the entire country have developed that quite rapidly. Another thing is that people are more aware of it. You know, you look back in the 1950s, 1940s, 1930s, people coming back from wars, and they were just like, oh yeah, he's just a little messed up. Now we have a name for it, PTSD. And now that we're more aware of it, it's kind of amplified its effect because people can look for it. So that's a good thing because of normalization, but there's a lot of hypochondria going on, and there's a lot of overprescription going on where you have big pharma fueling so much aid to these universities training MDs. And the answer is not always give them drugs. There's a lot of incredible therapeutic practices, CBT, DBT, ACT, nonviolent communication strategies that can really alter the biochemistry of someone's brain. So a positive trend that we're seeing is that people are able to talk about how they're feeling. A negative trend is that they're feeling worse because they're isolated, sedentary, and lonely. And so that has massive implications across our entire medical system. And at Yuna, I mean, that's really why we exist. We're trying to fix that because traditional segments of care are costing more money. So if you look at mental health related claims across the United States since 2017, we're up 69% in claims. And suicide rates are over 30% higher. We're at almost the highest rate of suicide that we've had in this country ever. So obviously throwing more money at this problem is not working.
those that don't know Lucas here, serial entrepreneur in the health space prior, investor in this company, and really was brought on to grow the company because of his belief in what they're doing. I want to go back to social for a minute. I experienced that post-COVID. We were locked up, right? You're not around people much, and you first you enjoy it, right? You're like, I don't like people. This is good. But post-COVID experienced is this need for social interaction because we are social creatures. So I think the fact talking to one of my coaches talked about this effect of the post-COVID from a social standpoint. My mentor, Tom Emmerich, many of you know from the show on here, that managed Walmart, said, look, loneliness will kill you. A lonely person has the same comorbidities of an overweight person that smokes and drinks too much. We've entered this world of, being alone or only being with one or two people all day. And I think it has a dramatic effect. I mean, you see it even in the sense of when you go out. Think about it, everyone. Do you get social anxiety more maybe that you did? You're going on employer meetings. Let's say you're going on a prospect or client meeting versus doing them virtually, right? Very different. I just held a big event that you were at, a lot different environment than one that I'm sitting on now or one that I'm sitting on virtual calls. So, I think we're in a new world now, and people are having a lot of issues adjusting to it because the brain was created a certain way, right? The big one I want to kind of unravel here is I would say the addiction one to things like this, right? We're so socially connected, but yet not connected. And so how has that really had effect on people that you're seeing on the mental health world right now?
So there's a guy named Dan Buettner, and he's actually a hiking buddy of mine. And he's very, very, very sharp guy. He, have you ever heard of the Blue Zones research? National Geographic. So he invented the Blue Zones research, and National Geographic sent him all over the world and published all this incredible content studying what groups of society live the longest, have the most people over 100 years old, and why, and what do they all have in common? Well, one of them that is very important is that they eat together. And they spend time together. Because if you don't have community, you are so in your head, it's unbelievable.
You look at addiction, the easy ones are we say, alcohol, and we'll go into those, but sorry, I dropped my pen. You talk about addictions, the easy ones are maybe substance abuse, alcohol, what have you. But I'm talking about our day-to-day addictions in social media, phone, email. The dopamine hits your brains are getting has now made everything else not very worthy of being important to you. And the brain was not designed to take the amount of hits it is taking now. Okay. So you can call it anything you want as far as what that is you're addicted to distract you right now. But it is a problem to the brain in and of itself.
100%. And Russell Brand wrote this book that I love. It's called Recovery. And he has on the title of this book, I'm not sure if Russell Brand's been canceled yet, but the book is really good. And it's got all these little, in the background of the book, it's got all these things like porn or texting or social validation or Instagram or Pinterest or all these different things. Addiction comes in so many different forms because in the end, we're just moving around neurotransmitters to get us high. It depends on the period, it depends on the toxicity, but it's the same thing.
I did a show on dopamine and removing your addiction specifically on this. We're just addicted to dopamine. So we're just searching for dopamine all day.
Yeah. And many times it's turned into such a distraction mechanism, like boom, scroll. It's a way to not think about what's actually going on in your life. And it's an avoidance strategy. When you apply that with mental health, for the first time, it's like, okay, I can gloss over something. But when you keep compounding, avoiding your problems, instead of diving into them and solving them and looking at yourself in the face, what that does is it creates a complete and total reliance on those external factors of addiction. And because you're not facing the issues at hand, your life continues to get worse and worse and worse.
You mentioned socializing and eating together, which I think is interesting. There's a great book. It's about wellness, and it'll come to me. But it talks about the 5 things of, how to live the better life, live the longer life. Sometimes, living a longer life can just be a fact of things outside your control. But you see Jordan Peterson, great guy, talk about it, is, the entrepreneur world, and those guys that get to the top, the very top, are just pure dedicated to one thing, business, and they give up everything else. And, the key is that he talks about women and why maybe they don't go there, and it's because they're smart. They don't want to give up all the other things like family, friends, socializations. All those things are so important to a good life. And if you don't have them in it, then you have effects on your brain, like things we're talking about today. So different roles comes different mental trauma. And I think in the employer space right now, people are seeing it with the remote work we talked about earlier. I think offline, where alcohol rehab centers went up like 3x in enrollment post-COVID, because you're sitting at home, especially during COVID when that was going on. I was like, well, I can have a glass of wine at 2:00 on a Wednesday. All of a sudden it becomes normal, and it just spirals. Alcohol, obviously, is that one that's driving issues in mental health challenges today?
Well, alcohol has always been driving mental health issues, but it's been amplified. Like, post-COVID, or during COVID, alcohol itself is a depressant. So you get a temporary good feeling and a numbness and a dulling, but that is exactly what we talked about, which is another avoidance strategy. So one of the things that we've done inside Yuna to help this, and that we're doing even more of, is there's what you're really looking for in those moments is feeling a little bit good and getting that hit, right? So if you can replace those moments with something else that makes you feel good, that's healthy, like a little thing, like let's say it's like doing 10 push-ups and then going like this. Because when you go like this, you automatically start getting neurotransmitters up into your brain that make you feel good. Like those little replacements can build habits that can help you stop those, but people need help because people don't know these tools, right? Like if you don't want to go to therapy, if you don't want to go do CBT or, go block out, problem is like most therapists work in 9 to 5. So if you don't have these tools and you want to go get these tools, what are you supposed to do? Because you work during 9 to 5 and people don't have access to it.
From your instance on the mental health crisis, is it not knowing, is people aren't able to fix it because of the cost of it, or because of the knowledge of them not knowing how to fix it?
Both. So that's a good question. 85% of the counties in the United States are deemed mental health crisis zones because there are not enough therapists to serve people. Over 50% of the counties in the United States don't have a single psychiatrist. So from a labor shortage perspective, even if someone does want to go seek mental health help, support, the average wait time on an EAP or through insurance to see a therapist for the first time that's in network is 48 days. How is that helpful?
The fact that that's happening is crazy, and you see a lot of it with healthcare is none of them take insurance, right, because of their reimbursements. It's obviously a problem that's been ongoing a long time in the industry, but the fact that there isn't more people going into this kind of tells you how the system's broken in and of itself of the reimbursement. But look, it can get expensive, and if they're good, they should be paid well. But the reality is that I don't think that model is going to work across the board, and is especially in today's world, it's going to get worse and worse.
Yeah, it's broken, and we've already seen that it's broken. I mentioned that suicide rates are pretty much the highest they've ever been, and so is mental health healthcare spend. And the supply and demand has been completely outpaced with demand. So, I've heard like certain politicians saying like, oh, we can't have AI with mental health. Like we need to preserve the jobs. The jobs are here. The issue at hand is the incredible mental health spend on insurance plans and the fact that people are killing themselves more than they ever have. So what we really need to do, which is what we're doing, that's the whole mission of Yuna, is to democratize mental health support, destigmatize mental health support, and give the highest quality level of mental health support humanly possible to the most amount of people for the lowest price.
The way it's looked at always was maybe say, you've seen the Italian movies, Analyze This, Analyze That, all those funny movies, and they want to kill him because he was going to a therapist. Being in the world I am now, as a business owner and other things I have going on in business, I think it's insane. You learn about sales, you become a good salesperson, but there's this thing that's in between your ears, right? The 6 inches between your ears. You have no idea how it works or how to control it. And it's insane that people look at it in a negative way when it's, hey, I just paid $5,000. I'm going to do an episode on this. I got my brain scan and it showed me how my brain actually works and why I do certain things. And so we now can be in a world where hiring coaches and using these different tools, you learn about your brain, how you act, how you look at things, why you have this issue, why you react in a certain way. And I don't think it's going to be a negative thing anymore. It's going to grow out of that, because I can tell you this, being in the business world, being around, whether it be masterminds, guys making 10 million a year, worth 100 million, they all have coaches, call them therapists, brain coach, business, whatever you want to call them. They understand how that brain works. And one big thing is, all of them do that I'm learning is another tool is meditation. It sounded weak to me always, right? Just like maybe talking to a mental therapist or using these solutions. But I mean, it is a key to some of the most successful people that are out there. Just kind of how this solution works for an employee, employers, from their standpoint.
I originally invested in the company and then became a co-founder because I thought that this product was so needed and so necessary and so beautiful, and the market's been loving it. So essentially what we've done is we've taken, some of the top clinicians in the world, PhDs from Cornell, Harvard, you name it, and they are training AI the same way that you would train a PhD level candidate student becoming a therapist, with all of the most proven modalities. So like my co-founder, Dr. Tara Alberto, is a PhD clinical psychologist, ran labs at Harvard and Cornell for almost a decade, studying specifically what types of therapies work for people and what types don't and why, and to what people. And so we are training AI the same way you would train a PhD student at the highest caliber of therapy. The barrier to entry is literally picking up your phone and clicking one button, and you start talking to Yuna and it talks right back to you. And it's like having a real conversation, but with a PhD that never stops learning 24/7.
And it's learning you particularly as well.
Oh yeah, and it never forgets you. And it's almost kind of crazy. Like I was using it the other day. I use it all the time, and I was using it because someone I was doing work with was kind of like irritating me. Yuna was like, Luke, this sounds a lot like the conflict you were having with this person 3 months ago. Do you see any similarities? I was like, oh my gosh, you're totally right. And so it learns you over time and gets better and better and better. And employers can offer it to employees for $1 to $4 PEPM for unlimited sessions. So you think about EAPs that are capped at 3 sessions. If you're having a real problem, and by the way, most of them are not even guaranteed the same therapist. Who the hell is going to get solved in 3 sessions with a stranger?
Yeah, and I think the barrier to entry has become so hard. You talked about certain hours and things like that. It's just, we move to a world where that is not, people are not accepted that doctor world anymore. The whole, I'm only open at this time and you got to sit and wait. It's not the new world. And so it needs to be now and faster. I tried the app, so I think it's pretty cool. I liked it. I liked some of the tools that it talked about because I'm already learning. I wanted to test it, see what they said against what the doctors, or not the doctors, of my coaches have said of these different strategies. Okay, so they give you very similar strategies to it. And like I said, even now with coaches, you're on their schedule, you're on their time. Well, does that work for day-to-day stuff when you have things happen throughout the day? Because it's like you'll forget about it. And you can't address that maybe situation as it happens. Whereas with this solution, you could and kind of earmark it to what's going on throughout the day over and over and over. And it may catch you, right? It'll catch you saying, hey, maybe you're the problem. At the end of the day, you realize a lot of the problems you put on yourself, right? It's what you see and envision. And it's interesting, right? That maybe that mirror needs to be put in front of you over and over.
I think that the thing that we've been really excited about, I don't want to say shocked because it sounds like we're self-doubting, but surprised, is that, so like, I'll give you an example. We got Amazon Maryland. So all the delivery drivers in Maryland are using Yuna. Their EAP utilization was at 3%. And when you go there, because we've been there and we've met them, you know, these are blue collar guys. Like, you tell them they've never seen a therapist. They don't have any friends that have ever seen a therapist. And there's hell no they're ever doing that. They're going to take it out on a Friday night. You know what I'm saying? But they will use Yuna. Yuna is at a 26% utilization rate because these guys don't feel stigma. They just pick up their phone and start talking, and it talks right back to them, and it doesn't feel weird.
If you're not using coaches therapy, you know, check out this app, use something, because a lot of those problems can be fixed and help you move forward. So final thoughts here on just that mental health crisis and where we're moving to from a solution standpoint.
AI is the future of mental health, but it's not a replacement to therapists. It's an augmentation and improvement. So when you look at what we like to call the claims gap, so someone is dealing with something, it's not that big of a deal, but it's impacting their life. And then someone is dealing with something like schizophrenia, and they need serious clinical support. Most of the people here do nothing and silently suffer, or rack up until they create a big claim. And there's really nothing for them to do in between. AI is the bridge. It allows employers to offer 24/7. So someone's having a panic attack at midnight, 24/7 unlimited support. Brokers love it because they're able to bundle it and arbitrage the difference. Like, the broker market for us is blowing up with this. The PEO market is blowing up because they're just doing opt-out bundles, and they're able to offer this benefit that no one else has. But this is the future. I think AI is the future of mental health support, and we're already saving thousands of lives. And this is just the start.
We love it. Thanks so much, Lucas. Check him out. Go ahead on LinkedIn, Lucas Siegel, Yuna. Check him out. Thanks so much for joining us. Great show. Stay tuned. Next week, we'll have another one for you. Take care.